This is by far the quickest and easiest way to get a film into production within 12 months. Hey everyone, it's Alexi here from Exile Entertainment, producer and production company based in Australia. And in this video, I'm going to take you through how I would finance and produce my debut feature film if I had to start again from scratch today. So there's basically 6 steps that I would go through in order to get from having even no idea, no like outline or anything creative when it comes to the film that I want to make, having no finance in place, to 12 months later being in production, being financed, and having a killer script to make a film with. So I'm going to take you through those 6 steps, and hopefully you can take some lessons away and aim to get your film into production within that 12-month period. So number 1, first thing that I would do is I would read Rebel Without a Crew. And most indie filmmakers have read this book, but if you haven't, then I highly recommend you go read it straight away, because I still think that that book is like the seminal book when it comes to making a micro budget independent film. And the lessons that are taught in that book, they still apply. They're principles that are somewhat timeless, and it's really going to get you into the mind space or the right frame of mind when it comes to executing something on a really small budget but making a really big impact. So if you don't know anything about that book, it's a book written by Robert Rodriguez. It basically details his journey making El Mariachi on a shoestring budget, and then getting that into the Sundance Festival, having lots of success from that, and then going on to create a career in the film industry. So that would absolutely be step 1 for me, and just to like lay the groundwork and really get into that frame of mind of what I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to be doing it. The next thing that I would do is look at my salary, so my current salary, and determine how much I can set aside each week. So I'd be looking at total salary, look at your living expenses, and then basically anything that's left over, I'd be looking at what that figure is. So if you're working a 9-to-5 job, it's very easy for you to do that. If you run your own business, or you're freelancing, or you're running a commercial production company, then probably the best way to do it is to go back and look at your tax return for the last financial year, look at how much money you made, and then maybe even look at your income for the last 3 months, just to make sure that it is all consistent, and try and work out an average, and then use that as the figure, as your income figure. And then again, work out your living expenses and look at how much is left. So that's step 2. Step 3 is I would then take that figure, so whatever's left over after you've covered all your expenses, and times it by 52 weeks. Right, that's going to become your budget. So that figure right there, whatever it ends up at, it could be 5 grand, could be 2 grand, could be 10 grand, could be 20 grand, could be 100 grand, depending how much money you make. That's going to become the budget for your feature film. So what you want to do from there is you want to, this is step 4, set up a bank account. And you can either do this just with like your existing online banking, go in there, set up a new account, or if you if you like spending money a bit and you don't trust that you're not going to be able to dip into that account, set up an account with another financial institution, right? So that this account sits separate to like your daily expenses and everything. And what you want to do is set up a direct debit so that that amount goes into this other account every single week. So this is actually something that I learned from The Barefoot Investor, which is a personal finance book written by an Australian. If you haven't heard of it and you're based overseas, it's actually worth reading in any case, even though there are some Australian specific like elements of it. It absolutely applies universally. So that's what I do. You set up this other account, you set up a direct debit, and that way you know every week money is going into your account. Now, this is a little hack, but from here, what you want to do is go and find 2 other people, so 2 collaborators. Could be a DP, could be a producer, could be a director, could be a production designer, could be an editor. You know, it's going to be like someone who is a head of department, and try and sell them, convince them on doing the same as you. And as a reward for doing the same, you will share in the profits and the copyright of this film together. So you essentially become partners in it, and you're going to equally contribute the same amount of money. And why this is great is because instantly, if you can find those 2 people, then your budget has tripled. So, you know, let's say your initial budget was 10K with just money that you're going to save. You find 2 other people, they put 10K each. Now you've got 30K. So that would be something that I highly recommend doing. And also, if you find 2 other people, you're going to create this accountability. You're going to create this kind of group mentality, this pack mentality, where you're in it together and you're trying to execute this thing, this big vision, this dream of yours, and it's just going to create this energy around the project that I think is going to be really useful, especially for when it does get tough. So that was number 4. So once you've got all those things set up, and that shouldn't take you much time, right? You read the book, you set up the accounts, you go and find 2 other people. You might even know who those 2 people are. You just got to approach them and sell them on this idea. The 5th thing that you want to do is, if possible, find a higher paying job, right? Or even find a second job. So you don't want to quit your first job, but if you can find another job that's going to pay you more, right? And that means that the amount that you can put aside to your film is going to be higher each week, then you want to do that. So spend some time seeing if you can find a higher paying job. Or if you have the time, then of course you could go and find a second job. So maybe you could work, you know, at a bar on a weekend, or you could start doing some freelancing on the side. So have a think about what those other basically income generating activities could be that you can do to bring in some more money. And then number 6 is to then spend the next 12 months developing that script with the budget parameters in mind. So I would look at that total budget that I have with my 2 collaborators, work out what that figure is, and then go to work on creating a script, creating a screenplay that is absolutely tied to those budget parameters. Because if you do it in this way, you are guaranteed to make a film within 1 year. You know, and most people really struggle to make that first feature film. They struggle to make their debut. But this is a way that guarantees that you will do it. You know, if you simply are able to consistently put money aside, consistently work on the screenplay, and just chip away at it every single week, then after 52 weeks, you will be in production on a feature film. It really is as simple as that. Not always easy, but it is as simple as that. So if I was going back to the start, that is what I would do. And you know, looking back on my debut feature film, that is essentially what we did. The difference though is that I wasn't as systematic about how I was saving money over that period or putting money aside. And so that's something that I would change if I went back. I would really be much more clear about, you know, how much am I making, how much can I put aside, and just doing that every single week. It's also a much less stressful way of doing that. You know, you just know that the money's debiting every single week, the others are doing the same, and that pot of money that you can use is going to be there at the end. So that's it for this video. If you want to make a film within 12 months, you're trying to get a debut feature film up, simply follow these 6 steps and hit me up on this video in a year once you're in production. All right, that's it for the video. Thanks, and I'll see you on the next one.